May 30th, 1431. A town called Rouen in northwestern France. A young woman, not yet 20 years old, is dragged to the town square. Her name, Joan of Arc. And in moments, she will be burned at the stake. But before that moment, something impossible happened. This peasant girl, with no military training, no political experience, led armies against the English. She convinced the Dauphin, the Prince of France, that God had sent her to save the kingdom. And the crazy part, it worked. She defeated the English at Orléans, a battle everyone thought was lost. She got Charles VII crowned King of France. At 19 years old, she changed the course of history. But power makes enemies. In 1430, she was captured by the Burgundians in Compiègne. The Burgundians were allies of the English. They handed her over to be tried. Not for treason, not for military defeat. They tried her for heresy, for claiming she heard voices from God, for claiming divine inspiration in a trial that was rigged from the beginning. They pressured her relentlessly. Confess, they demanded.
Admit you're a fraud. Admit you lied.
She was alone, surrounded by enemies. The church, the institution that calls itself righteous, was determined to break her, to make her renounce her faith, to make her doubt herself. But here's what they didn't expect. She never confessed, not once. No matter how much pressure, no matter how much they threatened, her faith remained steadfast. At 19 years old, alone in prison, facing death, she would not break. And that's the story everyone knows. Joan of Arc, the saint, the martyr. But that's not the complete story, and that's what I'm going to show you. Everything you think you know about Joan of Arc is wrong. Not completely wrong, but incomplete. See, we've turned her into a saint, a martyr, a symbol. But symbols aren't people, and Joan of Arc was a person. A very complicated person, and I'm going to show you why. Joan of Arc was born in 1412 in Domremy, France. Her father was a farmer. She had no formal education. She was a peasant girl in a time when peasants were invisible. But at 13, she claimed she heard voices of saints, telling her to save France. And here's the crazy part. She convinced people. She convinced the Dauphin, the Prince of France, that she was sent by God. This teenager, this peasant, got an army. And not just any army. She led them to victory. She defeated the English at Orléans, a battle everyone thought was lost. In just 1 year, this 19-year-old girl changed the course of French history. The English wanted her dead. The French declared her a saint. She was captured, put on trial. The church, the same institution that called her holy, put her on trial for heresy. They questioned her sanity. They tried to break her. At 19 years old, alone, surrounded by enemies, she was burned at the stake. So, was Joan of Arc a visionary, or was she a victim of her time? The answer is both. And that's why her story matters. Now here's what I want you to understand. Most people have turned Joan into one thing. Either she's a saint or she's a victim. Either she's divinely inspired or she's mentally ill. Either she's a hero or she's a tragedy. But humans aren't one thing. Joan was brilliant and manipulated. She was powerful and vulnerable. She had agency and she was used. She was a visionary and a teenager who didn't know what she was doing. All of these things are true at the same time, and that's uncomfortable because we like our history in black and white. We like heroes and villains, but real history is always more complicated than that. At the same time, that's exactly why we created the Joan of Arc shirt. It's not a costume. It's not a symbol. It's a question. A question that sits on your chest and asks people, can you hold two truths at once? When someone asks you about the shirt, you get to explain. You get to say, Joan was complicated. She was powerful and victimized. She's not a saint or a villain. She's a person. And suddenly, you're not just wearing a shirt. You're starting a conversation about how we think This is Historia que Camina. This is not merch, it's a position.